Hello all and welcome to this week's Cyber Clinic. Today we're going to be having two separate talks. So the first one is going to be on man-in-the-middling Android devices. This is sort of like the equivalent to iOS and Apple phones, but only the Google variant. And Ryan's going to be talking you through that. And I will be going through setting up Active Directory, some general plot holes and security issues that are set up by default within Active Directory, and a bunch of mitigation tactics to then plug these holes. And then we will be going over to the Discord as normal to talk about through general cybersecurity news, which this week has become quite interesting and generally help you in whatever you need to do, general cybersecurity related. So I'll pass over now to Ryan to take it away from here.
Cool. Right. Hello. The right buttons on here. Hopefully this will work. Yeah. So today I'm going to be talking about man-in-the-middle attacks on Android. As usual, this is for educational purposes only. And you know, don't go out into the wild and try and use this to hack someone's phone that you don't have permission to. So in this talk, I'm going to be covering why you would want to do this, what man-in-the-middle actually is, a bit of software called MITM Proxy, Android's Wi-Fi proxy settings and limitations of those, an app for your phone called TomProxy, CA certs and why you'd want to use those in this sort of, why you'd want to use CA certs for MITM, and then I'm going to attempt to demo, hoping the demo gods don't smite me. So, why you'd want to use this? You know, some of you may wonder that. There's amazing things you can actually find out with doing this. You can find hidden APIs that apps use, like with Uber. They use, to get the cars in your location. They have a hidden API that they don't expose to the public, that if you send requests to, you can just stick in the latitude and longitude, and it'll just tell you where all the cars are in that area, which is, not gonna lie, I've made a map for that, so I have a live map if I load it up, of like where all the Uber cars are in the UK, which is quite cool. You can find vulnerabilities in some of these background APIs because they go, oh yeah, no one's going to be able to access these because we don't publicize where they are, so they don't like harden the security on them because only the app talks to it, and we know the app's going to sanitize all the user input, and no one's going to talk to them directly. But with MITM, you can see all this and access those background API calls. So yeah, what is MITM? MITM is man in the middle. That's where you intercept traffic between point A and point B. Yeah, you intercept traffic between point A and point B, and you can see what's going on. So in our case, I'm going to be talking about specifically HTTP and HTTPS, which are web-based protocols. So it's what your browser normally uses to talk to, YouTube, Google, what the web works over. And so you can sit in the middle of that connection and see, oh, this device, sent a request to this server, and this is the request and the response it got from that. HTTPS does make it a bit more complicated to pull off, but I'll cover, how we can effectively man in the middle HTTPS connections. Yeah, you can also alter the requests that actually go over this. So if, phone app goes, hey, yeah, I want to check for updates or whatever, and you're specifically running that version, you don't want it to flag itself as, oh, it needs an update. It'll send off that request, and you can modify what comes back from the server if you want, or even modify what comes from the app to then, either the server then sends back, you modify it so the app thinks it's up to date, or do it the other way around where the server thinks the app's up to date. Hope that makes sense. If you've got any questions, drop them in the chat, and I'm hoping Matt or Cosmin will actually see YouTube chat at the moment.
That we will.
Yep.
Yeah, so MITM Proxy. It's a proxy tool. You can install it on Windows, You should be able to install it on Linux and Mac as well. I've only really used it on Linux, Windows, sorry. But it can, yeah, it's really set up. You literally run the installer and that's it. It just does it. It's got a built-in web GUI. That's optional. It does have like a full command line interface as well, but the web GUI makes everything 100 times easier. It automatically generates CA certs for doing HTTPS decryption. You can augment it with Python. So you can write Python script to do, like I said on the previous slide about the altering the request and response from a server. You can use Python to automate that process, so you don't have to pause it and do it all manually. You can automate that, which is very handy. If you know, oh, this app's gonna send a request out, and you know exactly what that request looks like, and you always want to edit it the same, you can write a Python script that loads Intermittent Proxy that will just do that for you, so you don't have to do it every time. You can also install it as a Python package, because the whole thing is written in Python, as I understand. And because of that, it's all open source as well, which is brilliant. The source is up on GitHub. I'll probably link that later or pull it up while I'm doing the demo. So, the first thing you'd set this up. Your MITM proxy would be running on your machine, and the first thing you want to do, okay, you want to intercept the traffic from your phone. So normally, in most cases, you'd go into the Wi-Fi proxy settings on your phone, which these are the ones for mine on the right. There we go. Yeah. So yeah, you can see here, you pick manual for proxy settings under your Wi-Fi settings. You stick the IP of your machine in the port MITM proxy runs on. You just then hit save or the tick button or whatever it looks like on your phone. It seems to change slightly depending on which version of Android you're on. The issues with this is it doesn't always actually work for apps because of some security that the Android put in. So some apps will follow this, other apps won't. Which is a bit of a pain if you want to intercept all the traffic from an app. Because, if the app doesn't follow the proxy settings from your Wi-Fi, in your Wi-Fi settings, then you're not going to be able to see that traffic. So that brings us nicely into TomProxy. TomProxy uses a fake VPN that runs on the device in the app to route traffic through the specified proxy server. And I mean, yeah, it's fairly straightforward, and it forces that traffic to go through. So unlike the Wi-Fi proxy settings where apps can like dodge it, because this runs as a VPN, every bit of traffic tries to get on your device that you specify goes through that proxy server. In the settings of TomProxy, you can either whitelist or blacklist certain apps. By default, it's set to blacklist nothing, so effectively every app, when you turn it on, goes through that. I'd suggest if you do want to use this, changing that to a whitelist and just picking the certain apps. Otherwise, on your MITM proxy output, you get thousands of lines, and it's like impossible to find what you actually want. Again, this is another open source one. I don't think they have any public like builds of this, but if you drop me a message after the talk and stuff, I can send you over a built APK of this that installs onto your phone and you do it. CA certs. So a CA cert is the certificate authority used to sign HTTPS certificates, which usually you have, as you can see on the right here. See, there's a bunch already installed on the phone, and you've got system and user certs. So user certs are usually user certs are installed by the user, and that's it's the way the device knows that it's got two different stores. And system certs are obviously, they come with your phone, they're pre-packaged. You can't add a system cert without using root, which does cause some complications in post Android 7. But you can get around it with root fairly easily. There's tools to do it automatically for you. If you use Magisk, which is a root tool for Android, use that. you can set it up so anything you install into the user certificate authority store, it'll automatically on reboot move over to the system. Brilliantly useful for stuff like MITM Proxy. So yeah, I missed this actually. So a CA cert is the I mentioned that. I mentioned. Sorry, I'm just going a bit mad. So changes on Android 7. So before Android 7, a user could just click a button and install a certificate. It'd mark the OS would know, yeah, it's a user cert, but then apps would just use any user or system cert and wouldn't really care. They wouldn't be any the wiser. But since Android 7, Google/Android made it a lot easier for apps to limit what certificates that they use. By default, they made it so apps only use the system certificate store, which means anything in the user store is ignored. Apps can obviously go in and change that, but most don't because developers are lazy. And chances of them needing a user certificate is very slim. And they also added a feature for SSL pinning or certificate pinning, which is a bit of a nightmare for us. There's probably ways around it without decompiling the app, but not that I know of. At the moment, the only way I know of is by decompiling and modifying the app, which isn't the easiest of things. But if you want to know more about that, I might do it in a later week, or I don't know. If we get some uptake for it, I'll do a talk about that. But if not, I'll just talk to people individually.
Could you use a Android emulator for stuff like this?
Yes, all of this should be possible within the Android emulator. Should. It's not something I've tried, but it should be possible within the emulator. For those who don't know, there's the AVD, which is the Android Virtual Device, which is officially provided, by Google as part of Android Studio, which is their development program. I believe that's cross-platform. Like, I've not actually tried it on other platforms, but I believe it's designed to be cross-platform. But then you can also get full Android VMs. There's the Android x86 project, which is a x86 based Android build that you can just load up inside like VMware or any virtual machine program. That you can load that up and it just runs Android. It's not great, but it does work. And then there's also things like BlueStacks, Nox. Can't think of any others off the top of my head. They can be used. They're designed to play games, so they work quite well. And it should also apply in there. For my demo, I'm actually going to use my phone, so because I know it all works. One less thing to go wrong. Back to this. Android 11, they actually changed more things for more security, which locks down how you install certificates. So instead of, you click a certificate file, Android pops up and goes, hey, do you want to install the certificate? In Android 11, it now goes, okay, you click it, it completely ignores you, and you have to go into settings, into this trusted credentials menu, to actually choose to install the certificate from here. It's one extra step. It's to stop, all those people accidentally installing things that they don't really know what they're doing. But in our case, it doesn't really hinder us. So, demo time, hopefully. How well this will go, I have no idea. Just open it.
We're here, it's alright. We can do some little chit chat if it doesn't work.
Yep.
Time to pray for the demo gods.
Oh, yes.
Demo is displaying the wrong screen. That's a good start. It's great when my it doesn't want to pick up my other screen.
Which screen?
So I have two screens on my desktop. Apparently,
Okay.
OBS only wants to pick up one of them.
Can't you just drag over the window to
I can.
this one?
It's just a pain. Rearrange all the things.
Rearrange all the things.
You should be able to see that now.
Yep, I can.
There we go. Cool. Right. So yeah, I've got MITM Proxy open here, and then my phone in the bottom right, which you can see. Yeah. So I'll actually make. I think a bit bigger. That's a way too big. There we go. Right, so the phone's quite big at the moment, so you should be able to see what I'm doing. So, I've loaded up MITM Proxy. By default, find the window. It opens up a little box like this. It says it's got its web interface listening on port 8081, and its proxy server is listening on 8080. So, you'd go into your settings. You'd go into your Wi-Fi settings. You go into there. Go proxy, manual. Stick the IP of the server in. How you type. Yep, so you'd stick the IP of the proxy server in, you'd hit OK. And now in theory, your requests will appear on MITM Proxy. You'll find if I open up Google and just search something, see Google's not loading, says we're offline, and we get nothing in MITM Proxy. This is down to SSL pinning and the Wi-Fi proxy settings not always applying to apps. In this case, it has applied, and because MITM Proxy by default intercepts HTTPS traffic, it stops the Google has the certificate pinned, and because the certificate's getting swapped out by MITM Proxy zone, Google's going, yeah, no, I can't do that. It says you're offline. We go back in, just change that setting back. Just change that back to none. Apply. Our internet should start working again. Yep, there you go. You can see the internet works. In our case, we want traffic to go through MITM proxies. If I go into my app drawer here somewhere, you see I have TomProxy. Mouse work. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, I've got TomProxy just here, so I can open that up. You can see I've put the proxy server IP in here already. So I'll hit start in a minute. But so in settings there's the allowed/disallowed application. So this is the whitelist and blacklist settings I was on about earlier. With the allowed applications list at the moment, I've got a couple of apps in here that I've been doing tests with recently. When it loads, it gives you a big list of all your apps. Yeah, if you search for whatever you want to proxy through, and you can see you just tick the box or leave it unticked or whatever, depending on your settings. So I have 3 applications allowed. Yeah, I've got 3 applications allowed in here. So it'll only proxy those connections through. Every other app will just work like normal. So I can press start. Should have probably put my browser in here so I can. Don't know why I'm using my desktop to. Right, so we know that's started. And now go into here, and if you refresh, you can see, these are some of the DNS queries and stuff. Our search term didn't change. I'll just change that. Okay, apparently Google doesn't like me today, and they've got some weird pinning stuff going on.
Demo gods.
I'll just use my website. There you go. Shut up, Google Home. Yeah, you can see, I've put my website in now, and it's come up, and this is the request. It sent a GET request of HTTP. You can't see that too. Down. There you go. Yeah, GET request to, my URL. is the headers it sent over. In the response is the web page that came back, and all the cookies and crap in there. Lot in there. Yeah. Hopefully I'm not logged in. If I am, I will have to invalidate that session. But yeah, it dumps all the cookies, which is really useful if you're trying to, see how their cookies work, or if you want to use that cookie to, you can copy that cookie out to like a Python program or something, a Python script that'll automate sending off these requests, and it'll look like you're logged in from your phone. I actually use this process for downloading apps on my desktop from Google Play. So I have a fancy little script that I can stick in the format of the version IDs and what the app it's from, and it'll go through Google Play and it'll brute force tons of version IDs and just try and download apps for each, that app for each version ID. If it doesn't exist, obviously I get nothing. But if it does exist, I can download versions that may or may not be like listed on the App Store, because obviously you can only see the latest one on there. But even then, they might push like 3 updates all at once, and you only see the latest one. But with this technique, you can actually get all the ones in the middle, which is quite cool. You can effectively find hidden versions. But the core, back to the, yeah, so the main reason, I said we'd want to do this is to incept what apps do. So lately, I've actually been using it a lot. I've been using it a lot to incept Minecraft Earth of all things, because they're shutting down and we're doing some fancy things with the API. So I've been, looking at Minecraft Earth's requests. So you can see it starts its initial request here that starts going through. Does a quick, hey, yeah, tell me some information. It starts its login process. These are all the requests going on in the background of the game. I need to be very careful what I show because there are lovely creds in here. You can see through the login process, through the authentication, getting more information about the game, all the way through, and you can see now the game's opened up, and it has every request. It has every request the app sent in the background. So, from this, I was able to work out how exactly the authentication process worked, and now I have a desktop program or application to do the login system for Minecraft Earth. So I can programmatically go, oh yeah, I want to, tell Minecraft Earth I'm here and tell me what's around me. And I can just do all that programmatically without actually having to open the game up. Brilliant. Yeah, so you can do it all programmatically. You can see, whatever, I just collected that item. Be able to see down here that some tokens were used. It says sheep's there. There's some very cool things you can do with this. And like some of the APIs, some of the APIs, it allows you to find hidden in the background of apps. Are just amazing. Like things that you wouldn't even think the app would do, and it does that, just hiding there. But yeah, I guess that sums the demo up. Unless anyone's got a question.
There have been a couple of questions whilst you were doing your demo. Do you need to use all those proxies, or is just one of them enough?
Yeah, so TomProxy is the app on your phone to force. Sorry, man. TomProxy and MITM Proxy, the only 2 things you really need. I was just showing the Wi-Fi proxy settings as an example. But TomProxy will force the app's connection to go through that proxy server. So it doesn't keep repeating. Yeah, so TomProxy forces that app's connection through, whereas your MITM Proxy is the actual, the backend that logs everything. You can actually, from MITM Proxy, you can save out your logs, which is brilliantly useful. So if you want to save them, save them to wherever you want, and then later on, even when your phone's turned off or whatever, you can load those back in and see all the requests as they were sent on your phone, like whenever they were sent. I hope that answers
In
the
this
question.
case, he kind of hacked himself because he set up the proxy himself. But if you do get a virus on your phone, or if someone installs it on your phone and it runs in the background without you knowing, well, it's all done automatically. You don't have to be tricked into inputting the proxy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But for demo purposes, he just did it himself.
Yeah, like this could happen, like Cosman said, malicious actor could do all this, but in our case, we've done it for demo and to find out things that go on in the background of apps. I'd love to show you some actual, like the Uber thing, but I'm gonna err on the safe side and not show you that on stream. Because
Yep,
I don't
because
think Uber
we
would be
don't have
too
a bug
happy.
bounty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll leave
But
that for later.
Yeah.
if we don't have any more questions, though,
Carl
I think
actually made a
so.
really good point. Useful for malware analysis. Yeah, this would be brilliant for malware analysis. You install a malicious app on a test phone. Set this up. You can see every
Call
screen.
that it makes.
Yeah, every HTTP call it makes.
Yeah, I used to have a virus on my phone. Quite frankly, I have no idea where I got it from, but probably some weird website. And when I did this proxy thing, Ryan did, this was like a few years back. So for some reason, at random times, a full screen ad would pop up, and I'd have to close it, and it would do it like this about 2, maybe 3 times a day. And I was trying to block the website I was trying to access to get those ads. I didn't know that Google Ads was a thing at the time because I was fairly young, but I looked at what it does, and every time that thing popped up, it connected to about 200 servers, half of them in Russia.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I had to reset my whole phone. And
one thing I noticed, the manufacturer of my phone actually every sort of, I don't know, about 10 minutes, my phone calls home. Which is quite interesting. It just logs to say, hey, yeah, I'm still here, I still exist. There's nothing like too interesting in there, but I have that now blocked on my local network, so when I'm at home, it can't call home anymore. But you can find things out like that, because your phones do all sorts of things that you'll never find out unless you do stuff like this and look into what it's doing in the background. But yeah, I think that just about wraps everything up.
And Zepti, yes, you can intercept HTTPS requests, but that's basically a video in itself of how to break HTTPS encryption and do all of that kind of stuff.
I can quickly show the install process.
If you want to, you can.
Yeah, it shouldn't take long. On again. So, because I'm using TomProxy and I have my browser pipe through TomProxy, you can go to MITM.it when you're using MITM Proxy in this case. They've changed the screen a lot. And it gives you the list of certificates you can then download. So you'd go, okay, I'm on Android. Click the download button. You see it downloads a file. Let it verify. Your instructions on how to go through the full install process of setting these HTTPS certificates up. You'd install that, and then MITM Proxy would automatically decrypt all the HTTPS traffic. Which is brilliant. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, very quick.
Anything else from anyone?
Yeah, I think we can move on. If there are any questions, we'll be more than happy to answer them. Just post them anywhere in general or train us later. So I think we can move on to Active Directory now.
Cool. So we'll jump over to the other stream link that's in Discord. We'll post it. We'll share it in this chat as well.
Yeah, I'll share it right now. Give me a sec.
Yeah.
Copy link.
We'll jump over there and yeah, see you in a minute. I'll just wait for you.
Yeah, good stuff. Great stuff.